Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the Beat community. On this channel, we talk about the law of attraction, spirituality, self-development, and so much more. The following video is a segment from a longer podcast episode that I have with Dr. Indy Einstien, or Indy the Alchemist, that you can find on my Inner Worlds podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I will also link them below in this segment video. I hope you enjoy. My entire life, I've always jumped from discipline to discipline and philosophy, and studied Eastern religion, and then moved over to the Jewish mysticism and Gnosticism. And what I've noticed is that there's an underlying truth there that connects all of these different things. So how can we think that one religion or one culture or one philosophy has the whole picture? I totally agree with you. I know that you believe that every single thing that exists is kind of this clue to remind us why we're here, right? What this is all about is what you say. So I totally agree with you. And I see everything as interconnected, and everything is meaningful. If we're looking too deep into things, whatever, it makes sense to us. Something in our mind shifted for us to be able to see the interconnectedness of all things, right? So it's almost as if reality is like this puzzle that we're meant to figure out. And we've forgotten why we're here and what the point is. So if somebody is just starting to notice these signs, or if somebody wants to be more aware of them, where would they start? Where would you guide them to start?
Well, I guess I would start with synchronizations that they notice. So if a lot of people kind of seem to start, I notice in spirituality, if they don't go the astrology route, they go numerology. And numerology is easy because you can look at a clock and you see 555, or, you go to the gas station and you pump your gas and it just stops at, 33, or you get a receipt and it's at 1111, and people start to kind of like, their conscious and subconscious mind kind of come together to, notice the pattern. Like, oh, I'm seeing 1111 everywhere. I'm seeing 555 everywhere. Some people won't take it further than that. They'll just say, oh, it's just a coincidence, or, oh, I'm just noticing it, because they're not fully bypassing that logic to enter the subconscious mind, right? But then you'll have people who are actually curious, who are the people who probably want to know how to get into, decoding, things like that. So I would say start on like a personal level for your personal life. Start with synchronizations, things that you see, numbers, colors, phrases, names, letters, whatever you're seeing in excess, there is a message for you there. So dive into that deeper. What that's going to do is not only help you with your personal life and your personal spirituality, but that's also going to help exercise your brain to start to pick up on these patterns even more, and to kind of connect your intuition to the logic of picking up on patterns to see, okay, why do I keep seeing this? And, oh, wait, I noticed that I saw this at this time, at this date, or I'm noticing that I'm seeing 3 times, and 3 even has a meaning. So what does that mean that I saw it 3 times versus 5 times? Just kind of like literally connecting the dots. The next would be etymology. So etymology is looking at the deeper meaning of words. So let's say you take like a headline from the newspaper, right? Or like a news article from CNN. You would want to break down the headline title for like etymology, right? So if they use, for example, with the whole like ocean fires and stuff like that, I noticed that they were using a lot of words that start with Mar. So marine, or what was another one? I think there's a place in California called like Mariposa or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like words that start with the MAR, that's connected in etymology to the sea, to the waters. So you will kind of start to like piece that together, like, okay, there's a lot going on with the waters, a lot of flooding, a lot of ocean fires, and now they're using a lot of words randomly, but not so random, with MAR. So you'll make the connection once you find the etymology of that. Okay, there's a lot of words that have to do with the sea or water or the oceans. There must be a message right now about the oceans or the sea or the waters. And you really just do that for all words, and you're going to start to see how literally our language really just acts as a secret code or a secret language for certain groups of people, right? I always tell people the news is not really the news. What they report on the news isn't to truly inform the collective or society. It's to get out a secret message through words used or, you know, types of stories put out there, right? So etymology, synchronizations, I feel like is the best place to really start.
That's very accessible the way that you put it. So that is basically decoding, right? The etymology and looking at numbers. Could you talk a little bit about what decoding is, your process of decoding, what led you to using that, I guess?
Yeah, so I would say decoding is basically just looking at the deeper meaning of what's truly going on in our matrix. It's basically breaking down the matrix, or what you can really call the matrix within the matrix, because like I'm not going to get into it too much here, you know, it'd be too long. But we're kind of living in the distorted matrix or the false matrix within the true matrix that is actually, you know, an intelligent system that's actually supposed to work from, you know, in a balanced way. We kind of live in a distorted reflection of that matrix. So decoding would be breaking down that distorted matrix, you know, and also kind of allowing, when you decode the distorted matrix, it brings you closer to the actual matrix. Because what a lot of people don't understand is when it comes to the symbols used in the distorted matrix, it's just a reflection, a distorted reflection of actual cosmic, spiritual, energetic truths. They do this not only because imbalance represents chaos and destruction, right? But they do this because if I want someone to stay away from something, I will want to make them think it's evil or it's something that you don't want to tap into. So a lot of occult symbols, people, even like conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, they will see something 666, for example, and say, oh, this is evil. I need to stay away from this because this is, you know, what Freemasons use or Satanists or things like that, when it's really just a backwards version of an actual cosmic truth. So you need to dive even deeper. You know, it goes beyond just looking at, you know, the black and white checkered floors or the upside down triangles or crosses in 666. You have to actually decode those symbols, and it's going to take you to the true matrix. Because a lot of people would think, you know, a lot of people tell me all the time when I'm decoding, oh, you're just getting lost in their game. You know what I mean? Or you're getting lost in their rabbit holes because they want you to get lost in the symbols. But it's like everything that I have decoded, not only has it shown itself to be true, you know, for a lot of things actually this year and last year. But
I've seen a lot of that on Twitter too.
Yeah. It actually leads me back to myself and my purpose and the purpose of our existence. Like it actually teaches me more about spirituality than any form of spirituality that I've ever practiced or I've ever seen someone else practice. So decoding, if you do it right, and you actually put the puzzle pieces together and you connect the right dots, it's actually going to lead you to the cosmic truths. It reminds me of Willy Wonka. I don't know if you remember the scene in Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory, where I forget what his name was, but it was the guy who was trying to get the kids to find the secret like formula of the gobstop from Willy Wonka. And he said, I'm going to pay you this amount of dollars if you find the formula. And then at the end, it turned out that he was actually working alongside Willy Wonka to see if the kids will actually, you know, turn on him and give away this recipe. I see the matrix or the distorted matrix in that way. So I always wonder, are the quote unquote people who we see as evil or the elites, not to like absolve them of all of their, you know, things that they've done, but are they here in a way placed by the divine to really test us and to make us question everything and to make us, you know, because we're questioning them so much, it actually helps us to find the actual truths of this world.
A really good point, because what I was going to ask you is what is the fundamental reason for decoding? And now you already answered that. It's to get to the real matrix. And I can only imagine that there would be some sort of test, some sort of agents of distortion that kind of help us to transcend, right? Because in this matrix, we do experience duality, and there's negatives and there's positives. And I can imagine that we would experience that much transcendence without those negative forces. So I can see what you're saying. Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dualities are very important. I don't think people realize how important the bad times in our lives are, because if we don't have bad times, we aren't motivated to really learn certain lessons if everything is like peaceful and easy. So dualities are absolutely needed, and sometimes
crucial.
You need the bad guys and the villains to show our superhero strengths, or to mirror the inner villain within us, you know?
Exactly, that darkness that we have inside of us. And to transcend that, the most growth comes out of challenges. And I think that that's something really important to keep in mind, because so many people are, you know, they go through something and they scream, why me? And it should be, we should look at our challenges as blessings. Like, now I get to transcend to a higher version of myself.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. So one of the questions, we received a bunch of questions on Twitter that I'm going to ask you towards the end, but there was one that was in regards to decoding. So Hippy Dippy Danny asked if we could discuss sexual energy in regards to decoding, and if the symbolism of decoding or of coding is infused with sexual energy for a specific reason. Does that make sense?
I think I remember seeing that question. So I think what they were trying to ask is like, what's the role that like sexual energy plays in like decoding and like occultism and stuff like that. This would have a really long answer. So I'm trying to figure out how to break it down as easy as possible. And
I'll make sure to link all of your Twitter and your websites, because I know that you do live streams where you really go in depth with these. So I'll make sure that people have access to you in that way. Go on.
Yeah, but I would say the easiest way to put it is everything starts at life and death, and everything ends at death and then comes back again through rebirth, right? So to create life, at least on Earth, you have to have a male come together with the female. They have, sexual intercourse, and they hopefully will produce a child. That is a mirroring of what happens spiritually. Feminine energy, or yin, coming and mixing with masculine energy and yang, and creating life of all forms, not just, as humans, but just anything that we see and that's living, that's conscious. It takes that yin and that yang coming together, doing their dance. Some would say that, the Big Bang was like a big, sexual intercourse, and then an orgasm, and then creative life, right? So everything in a way goes back to sex or sacral energy. So to control the life that somebody creates for themselves, to control the reality that people manifest individually and collectively, you would then want to start where life starts, sex, right? Sacral energy. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to throw people's manifestations and reality off. They want to create a distorted reality collectively and individually through distorting their view of sex,